Welcome to an episode of Manufactured in Africa, the series No Ordinary Voices. I am your host, Uyonela, and I'm sitting here with Obett Motaung, a very accomplished filmmaker and my alma mater alumni. I'm going to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. So, Obett, I want to tell everyone who you are. Can I start first? My introduction. So this is the accomplished Obett Motaung. So I know him from Wits, but from seeing him from afar when I was at Wits, he was an SRC member at the time when I was here, and he's gone to do great things. He calls himself a multi-disciplinary artist, and he was one of the 2022 Mail and Guardian top 100. Right? 200 or
200, yeah.
200, yes. Top 200 young people, which is amazing. And he's done movies, films, not movies, films. And one of the ones that popped up to me was Rosie, where he's trying to showcase the importance of young women and their flowering. But he'll tell us more about that. Obett, introduce yourself, please.
Okay. Hi, okay. I find introductions a bit weird, but hi, my name is Obett. And yeah, I'm an artist. I just like creating stuff. I'm really passionate about just making stuff in my little imagination come true.
Come to life, yeah.
And exploring that.
Well, now he's introduced himself and he's been shy in introducing himself. So he's just going to give us a brief background of who he is, what he's been doing, and basically anything that he thinks is interesting about him. Don't be shy. Tell us about you being president of the Golden Key. Tell us about everything.
Everything.
Yes.
I'm just the person who's really passionate about the arts. Like I think since a young age I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Like growing up I was really obsessed with TV. Like I used to watch so much TV, like 18 hours.
And your parents allowed that?
Yeah, like I didn't like playing outside and
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I just like just sitting and watching TV.
I can imagine.
Like crazy. And this little TV box just fascinated me. Watched everything, as much as I consumed a lot.
Yeah.
That's when I fell in love with storytelling, and that's where I knew that actually what those people are doing in there, that's what I want to do. So even being a director, I saw the credits. I used to watch the credits. I'm like, yeah, director, all these people. So that's what drew me into that. And ever since then, I just wanted to just do this. And I was very fortunate to get the support from my family. That even from high school, went to the National School of the Arts, pursued that. So for me, the most natural progression is like, I'm going to go study this and go do this and explore it further.
And seemingly you still enjoy it because I read Google, guys. Google is your best friend when you want to know people. People use social media to stalk their crushes. I stalk my people that I want to interview. So one of your movies recently was accepted into a film festival. So I was like, interesting, this guy really, really loves what he's doing. And it's very rare to find people who know what they really want to do from a young age like you. But we'll get into that. I just want to know, how do you do it? Like, you recently, you're in the process of making a movie and you are working with the greats such as Leleti Kumar, our Sarafina. Yes. So, how have you managed to stay passionate and stay relevant in that space? And what's inspired you, except for the passion from when you were young, but what keeps inspiring you to do better and stay better?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think I'm bewitched or something. Maybe I need just the honest answer. Sometimes I don't know. Why do I like this?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other things I could do with my life because it does get frustrating and challenging. There's definitely those moments where it's like, why am I doing this? Why is this crazy? This is so crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this. Especially being in spaces where you don't know people who are doing what you do, who look like you.
Yes.
So there's not enough of people who look like you doing what you do. So there's not enough reference point to look at and ask advice. So you're kind of like doing this on your own.
Yes.
And having to figure things out of how things work. you know. So like even doing my postgrad, there are not a lot of postgrads that I knew who are doing their masters. So there's not a lot of reference. How does this
Exactly.
work? I just had to just go do most of the things,
Yes.
and it's been an exciting journey. I can't wait to see what more unfolds from it because for me, I just take any opportunity that comes my way and try and explore. So that has seen me take films to like film festivals,
Yeah.
like one like for Sparkle. Excited by that, and the other year I was invited again to another program that they had. So I just applied and taking it there and getting to see the world and what's out there in terms of
Yes.
an artist. Because sometimes you're located in this one little space, but then when you begin to travel, fortunate things that my art has allowed me to go see different countries that I don't know existed on the map through like I didn't know this is the map. Like I was at the time I did it. I was last year. I was in Italy working on a script. I'm like actually things that I have in my head that I like is getting me to see the world
Yes.
uh, further than other things. So I think for me, I'm really blessed that because yes, it is a tough industry. Not everyone like sort of like makes it or continues. Like
Definitely.
it's very few. The people that I started with in high school doing this, not only few of us went on to carry to study this in tertiary, and then even the ones that studied in class, only few of us are actively still being artists out there. So I find myself very privileged and very honored that I can still do what I love, and for some reason I can still and getting paid and getting
Yes.
from doing what I love. It's like I'll technically just do this for free.
I
like,
feel,
and I'm getting, oh, you give me money for this? Wow, okay.
yes.
I feel like I'm scamming people in some cases.
um,
Yeah.
well, you touched on a few points that I found very interesting. But my next question was going to be to tell me what inspires you. But we already know that you were inspired from a very young age. And the fact that you get paid to do what you love. And I feel like you're so fortunate because a lot of us, we go into university and we study your accounting, your medicine, the traditional careers, and you find that you're so miserable in those careers because sometimes you don't make much of a difference. Whereas you just do what you love, and it gets you to travel, you get to see different places. But one important thing that you spoke about, which is very close to my heart and why this channel actually came about, was representation. You find that we come into these big institutions and we study and we get these degrees, and then you find that you do have no reference point when you go out there, whether it's corporate, whether it's film. And I'm really glad you touched on that. So I wanted to know what what have you done, what has helped you navigate that space, the complexities, because you have that um, imposter syndrome. I shouldn't be here, no one looks like me here, and other many challenges that you faced. How have you managed to navigate that, and how have you overcome them, if you have?
Yeah. I'm still struggling with to some degree with some imposter syndrome. Like sometimes I get invited to some cool events. Like there was some event that I think Netflix was doing some branch, and I'm like, okay, why am I here? why, did
Yeah,
why am I invited?
I can
There's some
imagine.
school spaces. I'm really like, okay, this is so nice. Why am
Yeah.
I invited here again? So there's not a lot of. I think representation is really difficult because, especially as a creative, who's into so many different things that I do, because I'm not just like one check. So in one moment I could be working on a film, next moment I'm doing a theater piece, next moment I'm writing an academic paper to be published. Next time you see I'm adjudicating for something. Next time I'm sitting on an advisory panel or on a board of something else. So there's different parts of me that I'd like to explore. And interesting enough, I think that's when also you understand your uniqueness. That there's not a lot of people who do exactly what I do,
Yeah.
because there might be someone who's a filmmaker, there might be someone who's a theater. So I grab a piece from different people that I meet. That, oh, I like it. That one is an academic. That one is an artistic director. That one does commercials. So all these bits of pieces I just learn from, and I try to do me. I think it's embracing your uniqueness because what I've learned, especially with like choosing careers and all of that, get a lot of tool things. Like if you're good at maths, do that, and what I've realized also being in the SRC,
Yes.
seeing people who are really struggling to get through their degrees, is that sometimes, honestly, if you figure out what you're really good at, what's the thing that comes most natural to you, and what not only comes most natural to you, but what are you good at?
And what do you like?
Yeah, because sometimes if you do what, and it can be a simple thing, like you could be really good at cooking, like what do you do exceptionally well? And if you invest your time into that, like if you're good with numbers and you love solving problems,
Yeah.
like whatever field that you're in, because I've also heard a saying by someone that whatever thing that you do, even might be like even if you're sweeping the street, but sweep it so well that like the heavens open up and shine a light to you, like
Yes.
wow, like you leave so much of an impact. So always aim for excellence in whatever career and whatever thing that you do. Always try to aim for excellence.
I think you people that have made it or are making moves in your spaces like are one resounding theme that I've gotten from you guys is that excellence is the key to anything, to success. If you do things excellently and you yourself put your all into something, you will reap the rewards.
Yeah.
So I aim to educate when I talk to someone, and not only educate me but try and educate other people. I'm not really familiar with the art space, or like your career path for me is unconventional. If you could take us, so you went to NSA, you did your high school there, then you came to Vid and you did your film and drama. Is
Yes.
that what you did? And then, but did you know what you were going to do after that degree? Like, at what point do you know that I want to do film or I'm going to be in acting? And you talk about advisory boards. What are the different things that people can do who've studied your degree? And
Uh-huh.
what should they be interested in anyway to get into the degree?
So like for me, started from passion in the TV box. Like okay, I want to be a director. I didn't know what a director does, right? Like I don't know. Then the most closest thing that I knew about the arts is acting.
Yeah.
So went to National School of the Arts. Even how I got in is like I was told that okay, to get into the school you need to do a thing called a monologue and perform it. I don't know what a monologue is, but my mom told me that I need to go do a monologue for this school, prepare a monologue. I should go to the library, ask for a monologue. So that's what I did. Walked to the library. I'm looking for something called a monologue. Like okay, yeah, here are these books. There are plays. Find your one that you like. Find the thing and copy it. That's a monologue, and that's what I did.
Oh.
Not knowing what the monologue is, so did that and performed it. And it was like kind of like my first time performing. I had passion for it, but like in primary, I never really. There's not opportunities.
Yeah.
People did sports and stuff. I sucked at all sports, so like I probably and I tried, but I just sucked at every single sport.
So you don't know how to throw a ball?
Yeah, everything. Even though I can't do any sports, I tried every single sport there is to try. I can't run really fast, so it's like I found myself that I sucked at most of the things that I did. So, but there's the thing that I like. The only thing that I did well in primary, I can remember there was something called like poetry where we had to recite poems and stuff.
Yes, yes.
Because I was always enthusiastic, so I always tried everything. So it's like, let me try this poetry thing. And I did exceptionally well. Like, I got like one of the highest awards for that. So that's like, I really had potential.
So you've always been an overachiever.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Not really. Because it's like I sucked at everything else.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the thing that I had passion for, I'm actually good at it. So
Yeah.
that helped because sometimes you're passionate about things.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, I'm passionate about cooking, but I suck at it. So it's like the passion, the passion doesn't align.
Yes.
It's not always clear cut. So now, I had this thing that I wanted to be an actor. So that's what I knew, wanted to be an actor. Did that high school, did drama, did well in it, acting, came here, Wits. Yeah, I want to be an actor. So the curriculum, there's various options. There's directing, there's writing, there's TV. So it's like, so through coming to school, that's where your mind gets opened up that there's so many other things. Your world becomes just bigger.
I can imagine.
And like you find that, oh, there's things like post-production, there's things like editing, you learn that. So as you go, you develop other interests, within the artistic field. There's other things that you could do. Like, even, so I did that in my undergrad. Even after my undergrad, I was still confused. What do I want to do? I wasn't sure.
I can imagine.
So I was like, I'm coming back to do my master's, so I can also figure out what I want to do, but I'll keep exploring. Because even as time went on, I found out that actually I have strong talent as a photographer.
Oh, really? Okay, but makes sense. You're a film director. Though.
Yeah, so, but I didn't know that. It's like.
But you play with cameras all day.
Yeah, but like, as a director, I didn't like. I'm not too heavy on the camera stuff, so I don't really like.
What do you do? Actually?
Like pressing these cameras, like nah, it's not for me. I can edit the visuals. I can direct. How.
Or you tell people what to do, like
yeah,
how they should.
You come up with the vision of how it should look, where should
Okay.
people be placed. But touching the technicalities, I'm not very technical. So tell me the cameras and the sound. I can't do sound. Like I don't know where stuff is. Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, because even I remember the time that they're teaching sound, I was not in class. I was
Doing
busy,
your SRC stuff.
yeah, doing like other student society things. I was not in class for that.
Kids, go to class.
Go to class.
University. Go to class.
Go to class, it's very important. But yes, well, I did get good marks, so I was
Yes.
in Golden Key. So
Golden Key president. Yeah.
so I did
Sitting with
classes
the-
important
Yes.
because like also having access to going to higher education is unfortunately there's real challenges around access to it. So if you ever get the opportunity to go, really try your best and apply yourself
Yeah.
in whatever a little you're given.
It is a privilege, actually.
Because even some lecturer told me that, you know what, these things of access, what if you actually can't come back next year? So use every moment, every assignment to really try your best and to absorb as much as you can.
Definitely.
So, and I think that principle, I've applied it to
everything
in my life. So even when I developed the interest in photography, because it came out with just taking photos on my phone. I had them somewhere, and then years later I looked at those photos. I'm like, these are really interesting. I like them. I showed people, wow, these are really great.
So you're gonna have an art exhibition?
Yeah. I technically, I'll probably have an art exhibition, but my photography, I sold some of my photography. I won a competition, just for the context in 2020. They're looking for a selection of photos that look into the isolation around COVID.
Really?
And funny enough, it was a competition around people around across Africa. I came in third place, so I was like,
congratulations.
yeah.
Where do people sign up for you to mentor them? Because clearly, because I remember when we were talking earlier, you did say that you're not only doing like film and theater, but you also on advisory boards, etc. How does one get onto those?
Interesting enough, like most opportunities that I do, so you apply. So you keep searching for opportunities and you apply. Writing a good motivation letter helps.
I can imagine.
Why should they select you?
Yeah.
So as you keep applying for stuff, there's a saying, there's also a philosophy that I've learned, is that you aim for 10,000 rejections a year. That's your goal.
My heart right now.
But I love how it's put, is that you aim for 10,000 rejections. So you're aiming to get rejected 10,000 times. So if you get an acceptance, it's like, I'm not reaching my goal. I should aim for 10,000 rejections.
Wow, I'm going to look at life that way, because
So, yeah.
every rejection for some of us who haven't, I like that, because for some of us who've been told that, who've gone through the more traditional, your accounting or physics or engineering, or like where standardized testing is the standard, right? You know that you need to hit the 80% or 100% mark. For us, it's like if I don't hit that mark, your self-esteem is slowly eroded because you're getting rejected and getting rejected.
Yeah.
But the way you're putting it is that you're aiming for that 10,000
Yeah.
rejections, but then that one acceptance, it gives you that boost, basically.
Yeah, and it's like, the more you try, the more, like, it's stats. The more you try, you have a higher probability of getting accepted with
Exactly.
something. And like honestly, what's the worst case scenario? Like such as most things in life, as long as it doesn't lead to death, you're fine.
Exactly.
If you don't win next time, you try it the following time.
Exactly.
So the idea is that if you're consistent and you're resilient and you keep always showing up for yourself, no matter how long it'll take you. Like I know some people have different times with attorneys to qualify, that do
Yes,
the bar
and
exams.
yeah.
You know that account. It's really stressful. Like honestly, as long as you can always take it next time,
Exactly.
keep doing it. You'll eventually
Get there.
get there. Like
I love the fact that you said show up for yourself. I think it's so easy for us to be drowned by the negativity of the world and the people around us, and we forget that our talents and our whatever we're good at is within us, and we shouldn't always be looking outward for validation. I love that.
yeah.
Okay, Obed, I hear you that for you it's been, I wouldn't say it's been, you didn't have like a path. You carved your own path basically. And as a person in the arts, you most likely will have to carve your path. You're essentially an entrepreneur right now because you source your own jobs, then you make money out of them.
Yeah.
Would you say that a person who's coming into the arts should have the spirit of entrepreneurship?
Well, I think if you look at the economy and stuff, I think generally whatever thing that you do, it's advisable to have the spirit of entrepreneurship, because we need more entrepreneurs in the country. In whatever field, we need people who are innovative, we need dreamers.
Yes.
So even if you in the mining sector, think about how can you open up your own, what can you do in your industry that's innovative, that can give access to other people those opportunities.
Yes.
Because unfortunately we had to carve our own path because like it was an empty field. But since we have made a little bit of a path, I think it's others just follow the path.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I wish there was someone who told me, hey, do this and do that, do that, do that.
Yeah.
And there's also nothing wrong being employed within a system because there are various other opportunities to work in a production company, to do work for them and to grow within a production company.
Yeah.
Because if everyone is an entrepreneur, who's going to work?
Exactly.
So
that's fair.
it's just that for me, I'm independent. I have sort of the skills enough to be able to do my own thing.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't, it's also okay. Always look out for opportunities because we live in a world where there's more opportunities than it was back in the day. And there's a lot of support coming in from the state, from the government. There's various programs out there, but unfortunately it's not as publicized everywhere.
Yes.
So if you make the internet your best friend and you keep searching for opportunities within your sector, within your field, you'll probably get something.
Yes.
And then start asking questions, start seeing, okay, if I do this, where can I go to? It's the people that look like me, even like career days and other things. Keep asking the questions because you find out, even now, I'm still learning that the world is so big. There's so other things. Like even when I travel, I'm like, wow, the world is so big. What I was worried about is insignificant.
Yes.
There's so many bigger challenges. There's like, if you complain, South Africa, so like some people would say, like, South Africa is horrible, it's the pits, load shedding. You go to countries where load shedding is a norm. And you're like, oh, okay, we don't live in a bad country.
Yeah.
Like, there's a time I was in Italy, and I remember there's a lot of complaints about COVID and corruption. All of the people complain.
So in a first world country, they have that what we have.
Yeah, no, it's sometimes it's even worse. Like they're talking about, oh my gosh, our healthcare system is inaccessible. We have one of the most expensive healthcare systems. Oh, the corruption there, it's so blatant. And I'm like, look at our country. Actually, in our country, we have things that actually work. Like we have the public protector. We have systems that are there. It's just that we don't have enough young people taking advantage of the opportunities and being innovative. Like there's so many opportunities now for young people. Like if you just apply yourself and you take advantage, whatever sector you're doing. Like if you want to go into farming, look into the Department of Agriculture. What opportunities do they have? Whatever thing that you want to do, look into your local government. Look into. There's so many things that are available that could assist you, but we don't have a lot of people to just.
Share the knowledge and get people to know about these things.
And it's about you just trying and putting yourself out there. And it's not as easy as I say it is, because you do get a lot of rejection. Your self-esteem takes knocks.
Yes,
my self-esteem takes knocks on a daily. I deal with rejections like so many.
I can imagine.
Even today I dealt with some rejection earlier on of something that like.
I can imagine as a freelancer that must hurt.
It's like, oh man, I wanted that thing, I didn't get it. It's another regret. Like, okay, it's fine.
Let's move on.
You cry while applying for something else.
Exactly. I think that the world requires people who are highly willed, who have a strong will to succeed. Because I think, like you said, there have been a lot of people that you've been with on this journey from high school, then university, then but they've fallen off the wagon because it's so much easier to be like, ish, let me go get the bag, because that's always, and you don't think, and always, I sometimes feel, I'm not saying that working in a traditional job is a cop-out, but I do kind of feel like it's a cop-out. Have you heard that saying that your employer pays you so that you forget your dreams or something like that?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of talented people, it's like a cop-out, because then it's easier to work in the traditional.
I think it's a bit complex, because I don't have a problem with the more traditional one. That's also fine.
Yes.
Because people are multifaceted. There's some people who are going to be innovative and are going to build really successful companies.
Yes.
Let them do that. And there's some people who are really great CEOs.
Yes.
And I think it's a myth to say that one gets paid more than the other. There's some CEOs who earn crazy amounts of money.
But they have a loss somewhere, whether it's family time or so.
Like in terms of the scale, like you can be an entrepreneur, you can work for someone, you can still make the same amount of money possible.
We'll talk about money, okay.
And also the philosophy around that I have, Annie, is that sometimes when you're really good at what you do, you can get this, even if you look at the world today, these people are getting paid so much. Like if you think about it, if you had to Google like the highest paying job technically, because even when I was young, to check careers, okay, what's the highest paying job? The highest paying job, because the thing was being a physician, working in the medical field. That was the highest paying job. But if you look at your Forbes and other top earners, it's not just killing it.
Yeah.
Like we have soccer stars who signing crazy amounts of money.
Yes.
We have
that messy deal.
We have so many people in different areas. Like there's careers, there's people who are wine tasters, who make that as a career. There's people who are professional gamers. There's so many people. There's even some academics who are killing it in the field. There's so many opportunities available out there that you just need to. I think the most thing is that you need to find yourself and what do you like doing and invest the time in it, because it is a challenge. But for me, I think what helps is that I invest a lot of time in my craft.
Okay, I see. I hear what you're saying. That the most important thing, money is a bonus, but invest in what you like. Do what you like and love.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, and also like with the money thing is tricky because we live in a capitalist society where money is important. You've got to pay bills.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I've been very privileged that things have been working out. And maybe it might not be the same for everyone because there's different dynamics. Some people who need, there's a whole lot of black tax issues around that for them.
Definitely.
And it's about how do you navigate those space. So also, I don't want to be here and even make it sound like, it's so easy to do your passion. Because there's some people that they have bills to pay, they have this thing, that other commitments that doesn't really allow them to navigate, to do what they really want, But I'm like, if you ever get the opportunity to do what you really want, really invest your time in it, really go all out in it, and be patient with yourself and stuff. And and have faith, and if it works out, works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But really go out there, because it's your life to live.
Definitely,
And the most
definitely.
important person that you gotta make happy is yourself, and you're only accountable to you.
I feel like we should have closed here, but I know earlier we were talking about I like, okay, why I'm saying we should have closed here is the fact that you have emphasized the importance of being true to yourself and being accountable to yourself, which is something a lot of people lack and we run away from because we want to please society. I love that you emphasize that. But I'd like you to tell us about you said something about you wanting to be a resident when we were talking earlier outside of the podcast, and what that whole residency is in the art space, and what it's done for you, like your travels in Togo, Italy, etc.
Yeah, so artistic residency is basically where they invite you, where you apply to be in a space as an artist to create some sort of work or to explore something. That's also something that I recently discovered. There's no one in high school telling me, there's no one in
Yeah.
undergrad, but it's like it's one of the avenues where you could basically go into a particular space, create work, and also get some money
Out of it.
out of it, because then they also money plays a significant role. It is important,
Definitely.
and the idea is that if you actually put in your mind that you could make money out of anything, there's people who literally sell like rocks, who sell stones on the street. Like there's people who just, it's how innovative you are. Like
Yeah.
if you into making money, you can make money out of anything.
Yeah.
But the trick is, the thing that you want to make money of, you need to have some sort of passion for it. Because if you don't have passion for it, you're gonna lose interest in the drive to keep doing it.
Mm.
Because you're gonna give up at some point, like, this thing's not working, this thing's not working. But the person who has passion for it will do it consistently over some time. Because here's a simple thing about money, like that's why not everyone will intrinsically, like everyone wants to have money,
Mm.
but not everyone will have money.
Mm.
Because the idea is not everyone is consistent and
Yes.
resilient and
Yes.
can do what it takes to get the money that they want. Because we have dreams, but sometimes your dreams don't match your work ethic, and your passion
Yes.
doesn't match your dreams, and that's where things that become tricky for you.
Yes.
Because if someone could tell you, okay, listen here, you will give you 10 million, you just need to go clean the whole of any CBD in the country with a toothbrush. We'll give you 100 million to do that. And you're like, who wants everyone wants 100 million? Okay, here's a
Yes.
toothbrush, go clean the whole of any CBD
Mm.
in the country with a toothbrush. You could have a lot of participants in the beginning. After some time, people are passionate, like, that 100 million.
Mm.
But in that experiment, probably only few people would have been able to do that and get the 100 million.
Mm.
Someone who's consistently passionate about it and is with the toothbrush every day, and it might take them like 5 years doing that, knowing that they will.
At the end, there's the prize.
And that's the trick. Not everyone is willing to
Put in the work.
do it and keep the consistency to do whatever they want. So
I am sold. Like I am sold because I was asking about the residency, but you gave us a life lesson, and I don't know how many life lessons I've gotten. Be accountable to yourself. Be passionate. You can make money out of anything as long as you're consistent. I think those are my three takeaways from our conversation. This podcast never ends. Our conversations never end without me asking you about giving advice to people who would want to follow in your footsteps, and any other last words that you may have. Also would want you to know three questions. So it's
it's an
advice
exam.
so that you start thinking, and then secondly, um, what makes you proudly African, and lastly, what do you think is the African brand? Or even if you want to change it up and be like, how could we define the African brand or change it, because people have different ideas of what the African brand is. So those are the three questions.
Oh, interesting questions.
Yes.
Let's start with the last one. The African band for me
Mm-hmm.
is like being proud of who you are and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately for Africa, we have a lot of images. We've been told this is what we should. Been told that who we are and what we do
Yeah.
is not appealing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at some point we need to actually look into the mirror and like what we see.
Yes.
So
Love that.
I think once we have the courage to look into the mirror and like what we see,
Mm-hmm.
that's our power, because there's so much power in being unique and being authentic. Because no one wants someone who sounds like, who does something like, who is like, you want to be you and make a mark. And the only way you can be who you are and make a mark, it's embracing your Africanness, because it's complex. What is African? It's embracing your culture, your heritage.
Yes.
And even if you don't have access to it, you didn't grow up in that particular space, but learning about it and knowing more about it. Because there's a time where I was in another residence in Pakistan, and they were like, yeah, they're playing their music and stuff. And they're like, yeah, let's hear something from your country, from South Africa. And like, it got me thinking, like, if I spend a lot of time listening to music from another country and someone asked me, let's hear something from your country,
what would you have played?
yeah, you see.
Oh,
So
that's powerful.
So you always gotta, because imagine being in, let's say you're in America, and then you're gonna play something to Americans
That they already know.
that already know. It's like, okay, like,
Why? Why are you African if you're already aspiring to be American and listening to our music?
it's like, for example, if you want to spend your whole life, you want to go to Paris and go to
Yeah.
France and hear people speak French, and then you go to Paris and France, you come into a restaurant, and then everyone is speaking like they would speak like in South Africa,
Yeah.
and they're speaking Zulu and all of that. And you're like, but why? I could have
What
just stayed,
exactly?
I could have stayed at home. Exactly, it's food that I could have eaten at home.
Exactly.
So that's the one question about investing in culture. About advice, I'm really about giving advice to people.
Okay.
Kids, they listen to me and then they mess up their lives. So I'm accountable. It's binding. It's legally
I know
binding
it's
advice.
not binding advice.
So-
it's just advice.
So I think my advice, don't follow people's footsteps. Try to find your own footsteps and dance to your own rhythm. You know, try to see what other people have done. Try to see how other people have done what you're interested in, and try what you can learn from them, what you can take from them, so it can be easier for you. You shouldn't have to struggle. I don't want someone who looks like me to go through the same journey that I went. I want someone to achieve what I've achieved.
Less resistance.
At a younger age, can they do this when they're a teenager?
Yeah.
And have learned lessons and all of these things. Oh, there's this, there's that, there's that. So we should always try to make it easier for people who are coming in. Like, make it easier, show them the way that this is advisable. Do this. This is the tricks in trade. Should be always easier for people. So that's what advice I could give to people. And I think always be consistent and be resilient. Like, yeah. Use that toothbrush, clean that CBT, like it's that
Yes.
mentality, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And then what makes you proudly African or South African, whichever one comes easier to you?
I think what makes me proudly, I love my country. I think it's a beautiful and interesting place. With all it's painfully beautiful.
Yeah.
To put it.
I get you totally.
Or beautiful pain, or beautifully painful. I don't know, between the two. But yeah, it makes me proud. What makes me proud is just being born here, I guess, and just it being exploring to learn about various different cultures across the space, how people speak, like the heritage in ways, just to
The
absorb.
diversity.
Yeah, the diversity, and to absorb and learn more. Like, there's so much you can learn. There's so many different people and different cultures present here, there is that you could learn from. And if you're open to learning, and there's so many people across Africa who are also in South Africa, so this is really a melting pot and an opportunity for you to learn and be diverse.
Definitely.
Because the idea of culture and heritage, it boils down to how a particular group of people understand the world and how they navigate through the world.
Mm.
And learning a particular culture for them, you're learning how specific people navigated the world. So instead of having one way to navigate the world, how about having 10 different ways?
Yes.
Because now there's always maybe one way that is Western to deal with a certain issue. But now what if you have 10 different ways
To deal with the issue.
and you can find, okay, which way makes more sense for you?
Yes. I can see why you're a storyteller. Thank you so much, Obett, for coming through. Really appreciate this. You could say your social media handles so people can reach out to you if they want that advice.
I'm not really big on actually social media. I'm just on Facebook and WhatsApp.
Okay.
You can reach me, you can email me at Obett, OBETT, .motaung, MOTAUNG, @yahoo.com. And yeah, and thank you so much for having me here, and all the best with your platform.
I can't wait to have you again when you're a big star. Bigger star, I mean. Thank you.
Thank you so much.